We all have our favourite actors and our favourite performances from those actors. But keeping track of an actor's entire career isn't always easy. As such, every so often, a great movie performances, the best work of an actor's career even, can end up buried amid their filmography. As a result, these masterful performances have largely flown under the radar and been ignored by all but the most conscientious of film fans. I'm Gareth from WhatCulture.com, and here are actors who gave their best performances in movies nobody saw. Oscar Isaac, A Most Violent Year. It truly is one of the Academy's greatest failings that J.C. Chandor's scintillating 2014 crime drama A Most Violent Year wasn't nominated for a single Oscar, especially not for lead actor Oscar Isaac. Isaac, basically channeling the energy of 70s-era Al Pacino, gives a masterful performance as Abel Morales, a small business owner who struggles to expand his company amid the violent and expensive costs of doing business. Perhaps the uncommon restraint of the performance, depicting a man desperately striving for legitimacy in a world that actively rejects it, caused the film to miss with awards voters and audiences alike. Despite strong reviews, it recouped barely half of its $20 million budget at the box office. Isaac became a considerably higher priced commodity in the years that followed by appearing in Star Wars. Though despite his fine work in that franchise and films such as Ex Machina, Annihilation, and Chandor's own Triple Frontier, he's never got close to matching the brilliance of his turn in this movie. Matthew McConaughey, Killer Joe. Matthew McConaughey has enjoyed a tidal career change in recent years, as has affectionately been dubbed the McConaissance. Alright. His performances in Mud, Magic Mike, and HBO's True Detective garnered high praise, and he seemingly completed the phoenix-like rising from the cinematic embers by winning a Best Actor Oscar in 2014 for Dallas Buyers Club. But McConaughey's career resurgence really took hold a few years earlier in 2011, when after appearing in well-received dramas The Lincoln Lawyer and Bernie, he starred in William Friedkin's savage drama Killer Joe. McConaughey received rave reviews for his performance as the titular killer, a corrupt detective who moonlights as an assassin. In contrast to the majority of the appealing charmer roles the actor had played throughout his career, Killer Joe required him to turn that laid-back charisma inward, delivering a terrifyingly ice-cool performance for the ages as a result. Despite critical acclaim and an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Male Lead, however, Killer Joe was a box office dud and remains a criminally underappreciated cult gem today. Dallas Buyers Club may have got McConaughey the Oscar, but there's a daring, self-reflexive intelligence to his performance in Killer Joe that's unlike anything he's ever done before, or after for that matter. Stanley Tucci, The Lovely Bones. Peter Jackson's 2009 adaptation of Alice Sebald's acclaimed novel The Lovely Bones was widely expected to be a major awards contender, at least until people actually saw it for themselves. Critics largely dismissed Jackson's supernatural drama as a syrupy misfire that failed to compellingly translate the soul of Sebald's source material to the big screen. But there is one performance that almost everyone agreed stole the movie. Stanley Tucci was near universally acclaimed for his turn as child murderer George Harvey, even earning a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for his work. Tucci's performance is strong enough to even overcome his character's almost comically obvious makeup and clothing, and it's just a shame that his finest moment as a performer didn't end up in a better movie. Kristen Stewart, Personal Shopper. The bizarre Twilight-inspired narrative that Kristen Stewart could not act thankfully died long ago, with a bevy of performances in the likes of Camp X-Ray, Clouds of Sils Maria, Still Alice, Certain Women, Lizzie, Seberg, and Happiest Season to prove it. Stewart even became the only American actress in history to win a Caesar Award, when she won Best Supporting Actress for her terrific turn in Clouds of Sils Maria. But the true career best role that gets away from all but the most die-hard K-Stew fans? Personal Shopper. Olivier Assayas's chilly 2016 psychological thriller stars Stewart as Maureen, a young American woman working as a personal shopper for a celebrity in Paris, all while trying to communicate with her recently deceased twin brother. Stewart's remarkably subtle performance encapsulates the anguish of grief, without excess histrionics, delivering a heartbreakingly internalized portrait of sorrow in the process. The film ultimately never caught on outside of the art house circuit though, grossing just $2.7 million worldwide. Jennifer Aniston, Cake. Though Jennifer Aniston is of course best known for her work on Friends, and a glut of slushy rom-com movies, every so often she turns in a solid dramatic performance that, depressingly, flies totally under the radar. Like her turn in the 2014 drama Cake, where she played a grieving woman battling chronic physical and emotional pain in the wake of a car accident which killed her son. And to her credit, Aniston's performance is shockingly convincing, and she is totally believable as world-weary protagonist Claire Bennett. Aniston ultimately received Golden Globe and SAG nominations for her performance, though was likely denied further award success because the film as written and directed was just so damn flat. Every single dramatic turn in the flick goes the most obvious Oscar-baiting route possible, and no matter how hard Aniston was clearly trying to anchor proceedings, she was largely left stranded in a self-consciously miserable slog. Ryan Reynolds' Mississippi Grind. Though it's virtually guaranteed that Ryan Reynolds will forever be best remembered as Deadpool, and it's a part he was undeniably born to play, it's still not quite his best performance, dramatically speaking. Reynolds has only sporadically showcased his dramatic chops in indie films like The Nines, Buried, and The Voices. But the best and most underappreciated of the lot is in 2015 drama Mississippi Grind, from future Captain Marvel directors Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Reynolds plays Curtis, a plucky gambler teaming up with gambling addict Jerry, and also brilliant Ben Mendelsohn, as they try to strike it rich. While it's clear that Reynolds was cast in the part due to his charm, this isn't just another typical motormouth Ryan Reynolds role. Curtis is a thoroughly grounded character who grants Reynolds the opportunity to gradually peel the human layers back, like an onion with emotional depth. It's not a hugely showy performance by any means, but remains by far the most definitive expression of Reynolds' acting dynamism. More of this please, Ryan. Though well received at its Sundance premiere, the film made a paltry $422,746 at the box office, and was sent to VOD just a few short weeks later, after which it was largely forgotten. Val Kilmer, The Doors. Despite having a well-earned reputation for being difficult to work with, to put it lightly, Val Kilmer has proven himself to be a terrific actor when the right project comes along, and that's no more evident than in Oliver Stone's 1991 Jim Morrison biopic The Doors. Kilmer famously went to extreme lengths to get into character, such as recording demos and music videos of himself performing the band's songs, and even wearing Morrison's own clothes for extended periods. The result is a shockingly chameleonic performance and easily the high point of Kilmer's career. It's a shame then that Kilmer's incredible work is tethered to such a juvenile and obnoxious piece of filmmaking. The overindulgence in groan-worthy poetic monologues and quasi-experimental visuals seems to suggest that Stone thinks he's made a much smarter film than he actually has. I'd still say it's worth a watch for Kilmer though. Christian Slater, he was a quiet man. There's no denying that Christian Slater has enjoyed an incredible career resurgence in recent years, due to his performance on the hit TV show Mr. Robot, for which he won a Best Supporting Actor Golden Globe in 2016 and scored repeat nominations in 2017 and 2018. But the unsung crowning achievement of Slater's filmography is a little-seen film quietly released back in 2007. He Was a Quiet Man is a black comedy starring Slater as Bob McConaughey, a sad sack office worker who fantasizes about murdering his co-workers. This is a performance quite unlike anything else Slater has ever done, allowing him to shed his handsome movie star visage and entrench himself with the deranged shell of a balding, mustachioed, bespectacled middle-aged loser. Given that Slater was basically trapped in a straight-to-video death spiral at the time, this was a major breath of fresh air for the actor's fans. And almost 15 years on, it remains his most fearless and nuanced, if also frustratingly underseen, performance. Ian McDiarmid, Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. The Star Wars prequels are among the most disappointing blockbuster films of all time, and though fans regularly deem the trilogy-capping Revenge of the Sith the best one, what they really mean is that it's the one that sucks the least. It's still a clumsy mess that awkwardly attempts to bridge the gap between two cinematic eras, and there's really only one element of the movie that comes out entirely unscathed. That is, of course, Ian McDiarmid's delicious performance as Emperor Palpatine. While practically everyone else in
in the prequel trilogy was taking their material deathly seriously, McDiarmid went entirely the other way, proving well aware of the nonsense he was working with and just having a ton of fun with it. This reaches its hammy apex in Revenge of the Sith, where McDiarmid was evidently given carte blanche to mug and snarl at every errant opportunity, which then resulted in a multitude of meme-worthy moments such as Palpatine's immortal screech, "Unlimited power!" Moving on. But this isn't some ironically entertaining so bad it's good performance. McDiarmid makes Palpatine charismatic and dementedly terrifying all in the same breath.
Carey Mulligan, Wildlife. Carey Mulligan rightly received rave reviews for her Oscar-nominated performance in Promising Young Woman, but she actually turned in her strongest work to date in an altogether slighter, more unassuming film a few years back. In Paul Dano's excellent directorial debut, Wildlife, Mulligan plays 1960s housewife Jeanette, who attempts to come to terms with her husband Jerry's decision to take a low-paying job fighting a nearby forest fire. Mulligan gives a masterfully controlled performance, subverting histrionic, award-baiting cliches as she embodies a palpably anguished woman striving for a better life. Though Mulligan's work was widely accepted to be the strongest of her career upon release, and she received an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Female Lead, she failed to secure a buzzed-about Oscar nomination, and the film grossed just $3.7 million worldwide. And as celebrated as Mulligan's work was in Promising Young Woman, Wildlife is her most complete and persuasive performance to date.
Jai Courtney, Suicide Squad. It's fair to say that Jai Courtney didn't get off to the greatest start in Hollywood, largely due to producers clearly trying to force him upon audiences as the new Sam Worthington. That is to say, a generic-looking Australian actor with average acting chops who is thrust into a glut of mediocre action flicks. Yet, as it turned out, Courtney was simply waiting to be cast appropriately as the beer-chugging reprobate Boomerang. Courtney had finally found his niche and in turn delivered one of the most entertaining performances in the entire movie. It's a shame then that Suicide Squad was an absolute mess. Though at least Courtney will get the opportunity to reprise the role in the upcoming James Gunn-directed follow-up, The Suicide Squad.
James McAvoy, Filth. James McAvoy is one of those actors who brings 100% every single time he steps up to the plate. And while he rightly garnered enormous praise for his multifaceted performance in M. Night Shyamalan's Split, it's still not quite his acting peak. McAvoy delivered an even more astonishing turn in 2013's black comedy Filth, based on the novel of the same name from Trainspotting author Irvine Welsh, playing a bipolar, corrupt junkie cop in the midst of a self-destructive downward spiral. McAvoy is disturbingly convincing as the Edinburgh cop shuffling himself ever closer to the mortal void, painting a can't-look-away picture of unchecked mental illness and addiction. It's one of those rare, great scumbag performances that truly makes you want to take a shower afterwards. The disgrace just reeks out of the screen, I tell you. Though McAvoy did win the British Independent Film Award for Best Actor, the film's general edginess likely prevented it from enjoying further award success. While it managed to pull in a not bad $9.1 million at the box office, Filth quickly fell out of the cultural consciousness and is rarely talked about today. For shame!
Jessica Alba, the killer inside me. It's not unfair to say that the majority of Jessica Alba's career is defined by unchallenging roles in relatively frothy genre films. And even in something as entertaining as Sin City, Alba's role was more about how she looked rather than how she acted. But her standout turn to date is unquestionably in Michael Winterbottom's controversial 2009 thriller, The Killer Inside Me, where Alba plays troubled prostitute Joyce Lakeland, who embarks on a queasy relationship with violently sociopathic Sheriff Lou Ford. Alba defies her obvious casting to deliver a performance of impressive and surprising shade, culminating in an unforgettably stomach-churning sequence where Joyce is brutally beaten to a bloody pulp by her lover. Though the film as a whole is a confused mess of tones and ideas, even in its most self-consciously bleak moments, it benefits from its remarkable lead performances, and Alba has undeniably never been better.
Kate Beckinsale, Love and Friendship. Kate Beckinsale is one of those frustratingly talented actors who hasn't had nearly enough opportunities to showcase her considerable chops. But that all changed in 2016, when Beckinsale starred in Whit Stillman's period comedy Love and Friendship. playing the hilariously catty Lady Susan Vernon with a sure, merciless savagery. Beckinsale rips through Stillman's ferocious dialogue like her life depends on it, teasing out both the caustic wit and frothy comedy in near equal measure. As a subversion of the sort of plummy period roles Beckinsale was often offered earlier in her career, it's clear that the actress is having the time of her artistic life. Enough that many awards pundits pegged her a dark horse for a Best Actress Oscar nomination. Despite the film's modest commercial success, however, Beckinsale's performance failed to pick up much awards heat, perhaps in part due to the film being released in just 826 cinemas in the US.
Michael Fassbender, Alien Covenant. Michael Fassbender is a terrific actor whose talents have been firmly demonstrated in the likes of Hunger, Inglourious Bastards, Shame, 12 Years a Slave, Frank, and Steve Jobs. I mean, just look at that list. But they are all bested by his greatest and most truly transformative roles to date, playing the malevolent android David and his peppy counterpart Walter in Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. Fassbender's portrayal of the curious David was widely accepted to be the strongest element of the deeply flawed Prometheus, and Covenant literally doubled down by giving Fassbender the opportunity to play both David and his successor model, Walter. Though most fans probably agree that Covenant was a crushing disappointment as a whole, which failed to add much new or interesting to the Alien saga, Fassbender again received the lion's share of the film's praise, delivering not just one but two startlingly well-drawn performances. Fassbender is an actor of tremendous range, as is demonstrated no better than by the duality of David and Walter's personalities, ensuring that his dual presence is far more than merely a gimmick.
Jonah Hill, don't worry, he won't get far on foot. Now, here's a performance so underrated that even the actor himself is adamant it's his most unsung work. In 2018, Jonah Hill starred in Gus Van Sant's Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot, playing protagonist John Callahan's quirky Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor, Donnie, a role for which Hill received enormous critical acclaim and was even said to outshine Joaquin Phoenix himself. Despite having prior Best Supporting Actor Oscar nominations for his work in Moneyball and The Wolf of Wall Street, there's a disarming, unexpected nuance to his performance in Van Sant's movie, so far divorced from the boisterous OTT roles he gravitates towards. Hill himself acknowledged that he'll probably never top the performance, while lamenting the fact that distributor Amazon botched the film's release, dropping it in cinemas the same week as indie mega hit 8th Grade. As Hill put it, "It's the best acting I have done or will ever do, but no one saw it because Amazon completely effed it up."
Ashton Kutcher, Jobs. Much like Jessica Alba, Ashton Kutcher isn't exactly an actor known for his ability-stretching performances. He's instead remembered better for his slew of undemanding comedy roles. But in 2013, Kutcher was surprisingly cast as Steve Jobs in a biopic of the Apple co-founder. And though expectations were low for Kutcher's ability to portray the man, he ultimately acquitted himself extremely admirably. Beyond the uncanny physical resemblance that Kutcher bears to a younger Jobs, Kutcher really does make an earnest effort to capture the spirit of the man, and does about as well as anyone could with the disappointingly boilerplate script. Yes, Jobs is ultimately a tediously formulaic biopic that feels more like a Lifetime movie than a genuine work of cinema, but its failure was in no way the fault of Kutcher, who provided unwavering proof that yes, he is indeed capable of a serious dramatic performance.
Ashley Judd, Bug. Ashley Judd was a hot property throughout the 1990s, though her stardom cooled considerably at the turn of the millennium, before she made a mesmerizing comeback with her astonishing Oscar-winning performance in William Friedkin's low-budget 2006 psychological horror Bug. After appearing in almost a straight decade of poorly reviewed movies, Judd turned critics' heads with her performance as Agnes, a lonely, haunted waitress who embarks on a relationship with a mysterious drifter by the name of Peter. To call Judd's performance fearless would be an understatement. She goes to places here her previous work would have never implied possible, absolutely giving herself over to Friedkin's skin-crawling vision. Working opposite an actor of Michael Shannon's caliber, and free of the embellishments which a larger budget might have allowed, Judd makes it painfully, brilliantly clear the level she's able to climb to with the right script and collaborators. Despite near-universal praise for Judd's performance, any wider awards potential was scuppered by its F cinema score, making it just one of 22 films in history to receive the box office annihilating audience grade. What a damn shame.
Lin Shaye, Insidious Chapter 3. Though you probably didn't know Lin Shaye's name until she started starring in the Insidious movies, she's been a veteran of the film industry for over 40 years, recognizable for her supporting roles in close to 200 genre films. Shaye's career enjoyed a well-earned boost when she appeared as psychic Elise Rayner in 2010's horror hit Insidious, with even the film's negative reviews singling out her performance. As a result, Shaye was pushed into a leading capacity for the third and fourth films in the series, with Insidious Chapter 3 allowing Shaye to deliver the most nuanced and unexpectedly affecting performance of her career. To be clear, the third Insidious is, like the fourth, in no way a great or even particularly good film. It's generic horror schlock through and through. But Shaye sells the material with so much conviction, it's tough not to get invested in Elise's journey. Given how few quality leading roles there are for 70-something actresses in Hollywood, it's awesome to see Shaye thriving better than ever at this point, even if the movies surrounding her are clearly struggling to keep up.